Hello, my name is Yutaka Watanabe, a tax accountant. Welcome to the channel. Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems. Today, I'd like to talk about specific examples and methods of small-scale M&A for restaurants. We are going to explore the fascinating world behind restaurants M&A, mergers and acquisitions, and uncover the mechanism that operate behind the scenes. First, I'd like you to imagine something. Think about your favorite local restaurant, the one you have visited for years. Have you ever wondered what would happen if the owner suddenly decided to retire? What would become of the restaurant? Many people have experienced the disappointment of seeing beloved establishment close its doors unexpectedly. However, there is actually a system designed to prevent that from happening. That system is restaurant M&A. Let's begin by looking at the front lines of restaurant M&A. When a business owner steps away from management, who exactly becomes involved in the transition? The reality is that restaurant acquisitions are not transactions that happen by chance. They are highly specialized and carefully structured projects carried out by professionals with clearly defined objectives. The people involved often include M&A advisors, certified tax accountants, attorneys, and sometimes real estate specialists. Each plays a unique role in bringing a transaction to a successful conclusion. Behind the scenes, far more people are working meticulously and strategically than most of us would ever imagine. This naturally raises an important question. Why does M&A happen in the first place? Generally speaking, there are two major motivations. The first is the desire of large restaurant chains to expand its brand and market presence. The second is the heartfelt wish of an independent restaurant owner who has no successor and wants to preserve the taste, history, and reputation of a business built over a lifetime. In the first case, strategic growth is the goal. Large chains conduct extensive research on potential targets and carefully evaluate their value using financial and operational data before proceeding with the acquisition. In the second case, the situation is different. The business contains years of memories, relationships, and traditions that cannot be measured by numbers alone. For that reason, trust and shared values between the buyer and seller become extremely important. Whether the transaction is driven by corporate expansion or by an owner's retirement, the most important objective is smooth transfer of the business to its next chapter. This naturally leads to another question. How do buyers and sellers find each other? How does a large restaurant chain connect with the owner of a small neighborhood restaurant looking for a successor? Let's look at how transactions are actually completed. Restaurant acquisitions are not casual agreements made through a simple conversion and handshake. Specialized M&A intermediaries play a critical role. They conduct matching process, identify suitable candidates, and sometimes organize formal bidding procedures. Every step is carried out strategically and systematically. Typically, the process begins whether the seller hires an intermediary and prepares documentation detailing the restaurant's financial condition and assets. Potential buyers are then identified and, after signing confidentially, agreements are given access to relevant information. Negotiations follow. After that comes due diligence, a comprehensive investigation conducted before the acquisition. Only after these steps are completed does the transaction proceed to final contract. It's a fascinating glimpse into the business world. Finding the right buyer is not a matter of luck. It is the result of a carefully designed professional process. Even after the contract is signed, however, the most challenging phase is just beginning. This brings us to the comprehensive transfer of assets. The phrase comprehensive transfer of assets may sound like ordinary business terminology, but it carries significant meaning. The buyer is not merely acquiring a building. They are taking over the staff who keep the business running, the proprietary recipes that define the restaurant's identity, and many other essential elements. In addition, they inherit relationships with loyal customers and the role the restaurant plays within the local community. These intangible assets are often just as valuable as physical property. If a new owner drastically changes the atmosphere or taste of the restaurant, long-time customers may leave. That is why successful restaurant M&A transactions often involve substantial investment in staff training, operational transition plans, and recipe succession programs. In other words, acquiring a restaurant is not simply about obtaining real estate. It is about preserving the skills of the staff, the culinary knowledge accumulated over time, and ultimately the very soul of the business. Before concluding, I'd like to leave you with one final thought. If the true value of a restaurant lies in its people and its inherited recipes, then what are you really acquiring when you buy a restaurant? It is merely a physical structure made of bricks and walls. Or is it invisible value that exists within it? The next time you visit your favorite restaurant, I encourage you to think about the spirit and history that made it special. Today, I have spoken about specific examples and methods of small-scale M&A for restaurants. For more information about small-scale M&A, please visit the website of Yutaka Watanabe, Tax Accountant Office. I will continue sharing content related to money and business topics. So, please subscribe to the channel. Tax Accountant Nabe solves your money problems.